All right, we'll just wait for that notification that it's starting to be recorded. There we go. All right, so thanks everyone for coming. I know the invite was a little bit short notice. VisiCase is actually trying a new approach to these releases. We are trying to bring in a session of feedback to the versions that are coming, especially this one, because as we all know, the NDIS has done a little bit of a curveball, which has affected the way that we claim NDIS groups. So that's the main focus of today's session and the rollout of the version 6. But also we will touch on just briefly the release notes. We've got some confirmation of the release notes. We sent out a draft in the beginning of May, and now we have a finalized release notes. They will be available to you in your environments, in your systems, as the manuals will also be there as well. But we will get into it. We have a PowerPoint that we will be going through. If you have any questions as well, you can use the little raise your hand button if you think it has to be then and there, but we will have some time to go through questions and feedback. And if it's major feedback, obviously we would like the channel to go through Mantius, and then that will allow, tracking the feedback or tracking when it comes into your UAT if anything is going wrong or there's a misunderstanding in anything. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and show you this presentation. So today's session, as I said, we'll go quickly through version 6, just the release notes. We're going to have a sneak peek at the new look. I know there's a lot of feedback saying like, what would it look like? VisiCase has just had a bit of a facelift, no full functionality changes. They're all the same buttons. They do the same thing. They just might look a little bit different to everyone's eyes. Then we'll go into really the bulk of this session is the group sharing. It's a full new development that we have worked quite hard on. I think it's been a 6-month rollout or testing, chatting, feedback, then development. And then also we'll talk about the plan for the rollout. So just going to go straight into it. We have our release notes, and this has been finalized today actually, and it will be in your systems, like I said, when you have the new update. So really quickly, I'll just go through the points. So the first point is the new field is added to the capture goal review date on case plan page. Very straightforward, and that's a generic change. Point 2 is the ability to customize the drop-down list for individual goal statuses. This is configurable, so if you would like this to be done, please let us know, and then we can send out a quotation for that. 3, the 2 new columns, review date and document tags, are added at the case attachment page. And again, while I'm going through this, I'm sure you've read through them. These are very, very, very similar to the draft, but I just want to go through it so we have an understanding, or if there's a question with these, just let me know. Participant vaccination log is, I think I jumped one. Yeah. So 4, introduce news field, participant champion and participant in the participant general profile page. 5, participant vaccination log is added, reports added at the search menu. Participant service exit reason, again, that's configurable. Case file depth report, which I'm sure will be very, very useful. 8, support and recording the usage of restrictive practices. 9, ability to add past dates for quick charges on plan new quick charge option. Then going into the next page will be 10, ability to generate statements for services in a specified date range. 11, ability to print account statements in bulk for multiple clients, which will be handy for finance. 12, hide the budget services button at the graph on the budget forecast page. 13, ability to skip public holidays when generating recurring services on quotation. So this is when you're doing your inquiry stage. 14, the one that we'll be really working on and discussing today, is the introduction of shareable items feature for group activities as per NDIS July 2020 catalogue, which is being made mandatory from the 1st of July this year. And then also the 15 is also something we'll be discussing today in depth, is the ability to create a new shareable group activity from the existing group activity. So the existing one, that means that you might have the same group happening in the month of June, and then you might have to change it over for the month of July onwards. And we've developed a tool that can help you do this transition because, which I'll go into more detail, but because it is a huge development, it can't just be plonked on the top of what we have. It was a huge change. So we've given this tool to be able to help you copy and pre-fill some data points that is important for your groups. So that's something that we'll talk about today. Then we're going into 16, so improvements in the layout and filtering options for participants and resources alert search. 17, new category field added in the task type selected as other while creating resources task and calendar page. 18, new calendar task report under jobs management. And then 19, new tick boxes added to the user profile page showing access control in incident reporting. 20 is a VisiCase generic API to map data from a third-party software for location, employees and clients, which is a big one that VisiCase has been working on. That, again, as you can see while I'm going through them, some of them are generic and some of them are configurable. And then also what we'll be kind of having a sneak peek at is the new VisiCase look. So all these points will be in the full intensive training. So again, with the release notes, it's just a heads up. And then what will happen will be more in depth in training and talking about these new things. Are there any questions around the release notes at this stage? I'm sure. Yes, Chris.
Yeah, just a quick question on the one about skipping public holidays on the quotation. Is that functionality available or on the quick log screen when you're creating recurring quick logs? Is that what you're referring to, or is it something else?
So this is when you're doing a quote. So when you're coming into doing a new inquiry, you can do a pre-selected quote. So sometimes you have the option of yes and no. So when you're in the system and you're creating a new inquiry, you have a new participant and you want to do a quick quote for them, that's a tool that in that section it's going to allow the public holiday charge or not allow it. I believe that's the functionality developed. This was raised as a concern because when you are going and doing a quote and you're relying on VisiCase wasn't indicating, you know, a public holiday, and then when in your agreements you might have undercharged or underquoted what the services would actually cost. So yeah, so it's not so much at that plan new quick log, so a recurring quick log. I believe that within the system, when you have that, there is something that functionality in the system that can identify the public holidays, whatever public holidays you have set up, and it'll bring up all those planned services, and it can you have the ability to switch it out. But this is purely at the new inquiry stage, because some of the users really use, which is good, use the quotation as, you know, a marker of their service agreements and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. No worries. Go back. I almost had a sneak peek. Any other questions? I just can't see the.
Yeah, I've got one just quickly on that API. Is that a post data into VisiCase or a get data from VisiCase or both?
It is a channel that is from VisiCase into another system from my memory.
So we can get from VisiCase.
Yes.
Into it.
So
Okay.
Jay, if I can put in my 2 cents, the information I was provided was they're looking at 3 main gets for now, if you know what I mean. 3 main gets are client master, client, you can call it a master, location master, and staff master. Employees. Yes. So staff, employee, and clients. But at the same time, they're also not only looking at gets, because from a get perspective, it's already kind of not there via API, but available via data cubes via Amazon. But at the same, we're also more looking at puts, because that's where the real value is, or post. That's where the real value for organizations like your and mine are going to come into place. But yeah, I'll let Jen, complete the whole thing. But yeah, we are really looking, Jen, at gets. No doubt, yes, it will be useful, but it's not going to be adding a lot of value for what we're doing right now. It will just be more quicker. But puts are the real ones that, likes for David and I will be looking at really closely if we can get our hands onto those ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and of course, posts and puts and, updates and
assuming there'll be a
basically had the
swagger
two
or a
systems.
document or something.
Pardon?
Assuming there'll be a swagger or a document or something for a developer to use it.
Yeah. So again, I'm not too familiar with the APIs. I know that the APIs that I've been working closely with is to get like a bit of information out of VisiCase and then straight to it, rather than downloading a CSV, because sometimes softwares do not have the capacity to read or import a CSV or another file, like a outside source file. So that's the extent that I've had with API, but that will be definitely explained further with the knowledge in the training. Yeah, it's a big amount of work, and there's still areas that we're going to obviously get into, but this is just like the start of it.
No worries.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No worries. Anyone else have any questions in these? I know I maybe not be able to answer them completely, but we will be writing these questions down, and if we have a better answer, we will send them out. No? We good? All right. Okay. So just going on to the next slide, this is going to be what the new look is. This is a screenshot. So right now we have it in our demo version, but it's still being finalized by our developers. So what you do see is probably going to be close to what you have. There are just a few more things that had to be confirmed, which again, I'll be asking a simple question. It's about preference. Jane actually asked me to ask the clients today to see what you would prefer. It's very small, but here is what
have you changed your sharing screen from one to the other? I can just still see the release notes on the screen. Ah, there you are. Okay.
That better?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry. Okay, so this is the sneak peek. It's very, very not that much of a change. Obviously, I've been looking at this screenshot for a bit longer than what you have, but really it's just trying to modernize it, make it a little bit more practical. It is a change to everyone's eyes, and I'm sure we're going to get some feedback saying love it and some feedback that maybe not so much love it. But this is just what the developers have been using. The quick question for us is basically the actual coloring of these points or these headers are like a dark navy. again, it sounds very silly, but there is a little bit of a debate in the VisiCase team saying some people prefer the dark navy, and then there's also a very dark grey. I can't give a screenshot of that, but it's a very dark grey, not much difference, but we just thought that we would give you the feedback and ask for your feedback, which one you would prefer. So as we're just going into the welcome page, this is what the new to-do list will look like. So obviously you can see that it's a change of the blue to yellow, just to allow, I don't know, trying to read the to-do list a bit easier. Again, this is where the dark grey will come in if dark grey wins. At this stage, it is still stuck on the navy. And down here we can see that we've changed the colors of these icons. So yeah, I think I have a question.
Just me, Anurav. Since we are looking at changing the web graphics of the application, are we also considering what platform is it? Is it still the best? Sorry, the browsers or the platforms it currently runs pretty good at? Are we making any changes or changing recommendations in that sort of area?
Not what I know of. This is just purely the cosmetic side of the system. I still believe that the browsers are, from memory, it's Chrome and Firefox.
Yep.
And that will still stay as it is. Obviously, it still works in other browsers. It just might not be as pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, okay.
Sorry to jump in here. Yes, Anurav. So the browser and the functionality is going to remain same. Sometimes it's just like the browser settings, which could affect the fancy box.
Yeah,
For example,
that's exactly where I was. That's where I was headed with my question. Sorry, I'm not sure who's talking.
So it's Akshit here.
Oh, actually, sorry, mate.
It's all right. Yeah, so sometimes, when you are using the Firefox, the pop-ups appear in the middle, but when you are using Edge or maybe Chrome, it appears on the top. So those settings are handled by the browsers.
Yep.
Yeah, not a big change. It's going to be the same functionality, same buttons will appear.
Yep.
It's just going to the way it going to appear for the fancy boxes.
I completely understand. As long as, it's been communicated, that will be pretty cool. So there are no surprises to the end user and IT saying, "Oh, nobody told us."
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Because usually, Jen, when you make changes to graphical aspects of the application, it does usually affect the way you see things in different browsers. But Akshit have clarified that. Thanks, mate.
Yeah. But yeah, so then there's another screenshot that I thought I would, again, it looks very, very similar, but this is where this is a screenshot of the searches. So again, it's the exact same filters and exact same buttons. It's just looking a little bit different. So we hope that we get some more positive than not so positive feedback to this. Our developer has worked very hard on all the colors and, trying to modernize VisiCase a little bit, have a little bit of a facelift. So hopefully you like it. Let us know if you really hate it, but hopefully no one really hates it. Then we're just going to go into now the actual main beast of this version is this new group development in VisiCase. So obviously, as we all know, NDIS is changing the approach of the claiming of groups. Ratio services will no longer be relevant from the 1st of July. Didn't put the year, but 2021, which is very close, as we all know. So VisiCase has developed some extra fields to be able to allow the system to calculate it for the users and to claim appropriately. We want to also talk about the existing groups that are occurring onwards from the 1st of July. Like I explained, you might have a group that is going until August. So in July, August, you need to kind of recreate this group because it's not as easy as just plonking it on top of what we had. So the steps are that you would have to stop the reoccurring that you have currently, and we did have a quick look at everyone's systems. Some users have not reoccurred their groups after the 1st of July, which is fine. And then obviously waiting for this new development, I'm thinking, but also we have users that have a lot of groups that are going after the, like reoccurring after the 1st of July. So in saying that, VisiCase has created a copy and pre-fill that will allow users to fast track this transition. So I will go through some screens, but realistically, this is a heads up on the sense of with this new way of the NDIS has brought into the way of not giving ratios anymore, the system actually had to develop itself far greater than what we actually had, and it was working for us. But now there's a really good development, and hopefully we can give you the tools to assist you to the best of our ability. We really hope you take away that we tried on sense of looking at the time that we have and looking at some users that do actually have those groups that are reoccurring into the 1st of July. So I've done a little bit of a screenshot at the bottom of this page, and this is just showing you that there is a new button that is a copy and pre-fill. This button will be available to any group that is in the past or in the future or wherever it might be. This will always be populated for you, and that will mean that the old group you're in, and you know that it has to stop on the, I think it's the 31st of July, if I got my month right, on the 30th of July, you stop the recurring, you go into that group and you copy and pre-fill. What will be copied and pre-filled for you is the location, the group activity name, the activity type, the description, the hours, which we'll come back to, the one-off or recurrent and activity repeat. So when your users go in and they say, oh, well, I want this to recur every Monday for every fortnight, that's going to, the copy and pre-fill is going to copy that data and then pre-fill it for you. So your users don't have to re-enter it again. This is VisiCase's way of saying, we understand that everything has to change. Let's give you a tool so you're not using too much of the time re-entering all this data. The only thing that won't be copied, which I do want to highlight, is the breaks and allowances. So if you select breaks and allowances in the old group and you're populating it to be the new way, that is going to not be copied over. You'll have to enter that, or the users will have to enter that themselves. But again, that will all come in the training. Just coming back to the hours. So we were looking at this functionality and it was shown that we can assume when the start date and end date will be. So what will happen is it will copy over, if it's a 10 to 12 group, it will copy over the 10 to 12. The date will be the date that, you know, you might do it today. It will be the 2nd of the 6th, 10 to 12. And then when you go in, when your users go in to overwrite the date, the hours are also going to be lost. We all know when you change the start date, the end date follows with a 15-minute increment. So the only way that we could assist the users is allowing them to have it there first. They kind of might maybe note it down and then re-enter it, because the system, not we, but the system as the computerness of it all, it can't know when you want this to start, because we don't know when you're going to start creating them. We don't know when your group would like to start. Maybe you're going to have a week break and then start it again. It's just, there's too many scenarios. So do we have any questions around the copy and pre-fill parts of this functionality. So this is purely only when you have an old group that is stuck in the old way and not having the new fields that the system requires. It will copy it, pre-fill, and this will then be the new creation of the group. Yes, Chris.
So with the pre-existing recurring groups, they might already be there past 1 July. Obviously, there may be a change in the support item number that was selected in the first place. So in the copy and pre-fill, what does it do in relation to the support item number?
Yeah, so it won't actually, because the creation page doesn't actually have that service line at the old stage, it's in the enrollment. What will happen is, which I'll show you in the next slide, I believe, what will happen is in the new creation, you'll be able to select the new service line. That is the new service line. So I'll show you what that is. I know it's in my chat. Oh, what is going on? Okay, so what I've just said is the service line for the group activity will have to be selected at the creation stage. That won't be copied over because that technically no longer, it won't be a ongoing service line anymore. Now, I did speak to the NDIS in their chat and it wasn't the clearest advice, and I'm sure everyone has had that experience at the NDIS. They're not sure if they're going to discontinue the ratio lines or not. That will come in the new price guide. So I'm assuming that they will discontinue those ratios and then it actually won't be in VisiCase to be selected. But what VisiCase has actually also done is we have highlighted the service lines that can be shared. So for easy access of, knowing for your users what service line they have to select. So we have the standard weekday, weekend, we have Saturday, Sunday, and then it goes into high intensity group as well. So hopefully, again, I'll give you a few slides to kind of show that when you pre-fill it, it will bring you to the new creation page, and then there'll be a new section that you have to select a service line. So with that selection, you can then, the system can calculate the new hourly rate per participant. So without that selected service, the group activity actually cannot be created.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay, so just touching on the next point here as well, the capital center cost is also available in the price guide. It is going to be, if you do wish to charge a center capital cost to the group, then you can add it to the actual service. So the reason why it's not a tick box, as we were hoping it would be, is because if you did the tick box, it would be charged against the shared dollar value. But in the price guide, it actually has its own dollar value, which is $2.15 from memory, I think it is. And that will be an additional service line to be added at creation stage. So then you are charging per participant per hour that capital center cost. Another little bit of information is the system will provide the hourly rate. Obviously, with that selected service line, it will generate that hourly rate per participant that is attending. It can be overridden if it is appropriate. So there are a lot of different scenarios that VisiCase went through, and we tried to give answers to the very simple ones that the NDIS only gave one. There are some really complex scenarios, which I won't go into now, but if for whatever reason a provider doesn't want to charge, a participant for the entire 4 hours of the group, the calculations that the system does can be written, but also there are parts of the system that you can say, okay, well, there was 3 participants, but there was 2 workers. Oh, I only want to charge the 2. I don't want to charge the 3. If you put it in the top of this screen, which again, it'll go into the training, you'll see more screenshots and everything like that. You can populate the system, you can enter it in, you can calculate again, it will show you what the hourly rate is. So it is really up to making sure that there is a little bit of flexibility with this, because the system can just do so much. It can't think of every scenario, as complex as some scenarios can come at us in everyday life in the NDIS. But what the system would do its recommendations of what the data has been put in, and then you can overwrite as a user if it is in accordance with the NDIS regulations and rules. And also, my favorite part of this functionality is the users will be able to approve all group participants together in bulk. So currently, I am aware that you have to separate all the participants, do their charges one by one, but because they are so interconnected, this is the way that VisiCase has come to this development and said it's actually they all need to be on the same page. You all need to see what they're getting charged, even at a shared level, but also at an individual level, because even in the services, you can still have the non-face-to-face claim travel provider, and it will only be connected to that one individual if you select it. So just recapping that part, again, my favorite part is the groups, all the participants within that group will be on the same page for approval for the users. So in saying this from this slide, is everything kind of squared off, or is there any other questions around these parts of the development? No? Okay. So just going into some screenshots, the new part when you're creating the new activity, even when you're doing that pre-fill copy and pre-fill, or even creating from scratch, there is a new area here that can show if it's shareable or not. Now, in saying this, the reason why we have to say yes or no is because we have other programs, other users, or even other parts of your organization that uses group activities, and they don't have to do it this way. The NDIS is forcing the NDIS providers to claim. So you have to choose yes for shareable, and then what will happen, it will populate the new services. You will add the new services, you will add the center cost, capital cost, and then what will happen is we have an actual calculation logic data points to then go into the back end of the calculation. So this is really important, and I want to highlight to everyone that the reason why we do this is because I know we already put required participants and required resources or staff members, depending on how you have your title in the system. The reason why we need to have the calculation logic is sometimes you might have 2 resources with a driver's license, and then you might have another resource that is the first aid resource, depending on how you use your skills in the system. The system won't know, is it 2? Is it dividing it by, or times it by 2 for the resources, because the calculation is times resource workers as well, or is it the 3, or is it the 1? And so the system needs to have a generic point to pull the data from. So that's at the end of the page, and you just literally say share between numbers of participants. You put how many participants are attending or what is planned to attend, and then you multiply by the number of resources. Again, if it's 1 resource or 2 resources, you put that here, and then you create your group. That will then generate the data that will give the calculation to give the hourly rate, the ratio between the participants in the group.
Could I ask?
Yep.
I just wanted to check with that calculation logic. Are we sure that the rounding will be in line with the NDIA price? Because we know that in the past there's been difficulties with the rounding of items.
Yeah, so I believe VisiCase will definitely make sure that we will, if it hasn't been asked, to confirm the rounding. The thing with that is I think it's rounding to the 2 decimal points at this current stage, but I can definitely triple check if we're in accordance to the NDIS. The NDIS, unfortunately, hasn't been too helpful in confirming logic or confirming what they're expecting. I even asked the question, how will the portal, especially the portal, recognize, these claims? How will they, mandate it, or how would they check it? And basically I got told, providers should be doing the right thing, so the portal won't be actually checking anything. Again, probably not the right advice. There might be someone who's said that to me, but I can definitely double check the rounding with the calculation, because obviously when you divide by 4 at $55.47, or whatever the line item will be, we have to make sure that we round it properly for the users. So we'll note that one down, and we'll get back to just confirming that this is what the logic is.
Awesome, thank you.
No worries.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Firstly, so just to get my head around it, so for this, say if we're going to have 3 individuals and 1 worker, we would put 3 in the participants and 1, and then VisiCase works out that we would then charge potentially a third to each client for the line item we've put in?
Yeah, and that will happen in the plan services of the group, and it will come into the expected cost of that participant, but also it will show it at approval stage that is the hourly rate, and then you have your hours that you will select. But yes, definitely it will do it all in the back end, but like I said, not saying it will be wrong. If for whatever reason a user or an organisation provider would like to overwrite that logic, you can do that at approval stage.
Okay, thank you. And second to that is, what about when we're trying to create the group activity, but we haven't yet heard back from all of our participants as to how many might attend? So we don't know how many are going to attend when we're creating it.
So that's where it comes a bit tricky, because I know right now that you obviously don't enroll with defining services. Realistically, what can be created is what we know. So even if it is 20 participants attending or enrolled, or we know that we have that in our service agreements, that they want to come to the groups, but they're not sure if they're going to attend, that's when it comes to approval, it will show you as well a list of all the enrolled or all the participants that were enrolled, but also show you if there's any cancellations and things like that. And if you wanted to charge them or not charge them, it'll be generated at the approval stage. So at approval stage, you can always redo what's been planned, if I've explained myself properly. At approval stage, you have these at training, you'll see way more screenshots, but at the top of the page, it will show you that there was planned 20 participants, which is generated from here. And then what actually was attended might have been 10 participants attending, and it will actually recalculate the calculation under that guidance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries.
Sort of following on from that, what is the calculation that's actually happening? So if you've got the group of 3 that are attending together for 3 hours, is VisiCase then dividing the hours by 3, so each are getting charged an hour, multiplied by 55.47, or is it calculating 3 hours for each, multiplied by 55.47, but dividing the hourly rate by 3 instead, if you know what I mean.
So it's dividing. So what will happen is it will divide the hourly rate first and then times it by the duration. So not that the calculation, the duration will be the exact same thing as what you see now, that you have the hourly rate and you have the, 3 hours per participant. So it goes, the calculation is actually the service price, so the price limit or whatever, the service line, divide by the participants, multiply by the resource. Then at approval stage, it will then multiply by the hours. So if a participant only attends for the 2 hours, but you do want to charge them this equal dollar amount, that then can be done when you do the approval. So again, the calculation is the dividing of the price times divided by the price by the participants times by the support worker, then it stops. And then at the approval, it'll be that hourly rate per participant times the quantity of the group.
Right. So are we sure? So I'm assuming we're sure that's how the portal will process it. I've had situations before where a price has gone in against a claim, but then the portal has actually overridden it per the price on the price list, and we've got different money here.
It is a bit of a tricky spot because, again, when I was going back and forth with the NDIS trying to get some confirmation of logic, the one way or the other way, it actually ended up with the same total amount, depending on which way you put the resources and things like that. So the real main thing for this calculation is how to generate that ratio hourly rate. And if we get that right, obviously, then the total will be right, we hope. But again, it got really confusing in the sense of when the NDIS said one way, one calculation, and then another representative said a different way. The different way actually allows VisiCase to still keep its foundations at approval stage. So it does the hourly rate, then it does the duration, and that's where VisiCase has chosen that this is not easier, because it has not been easy, but the logical way to keep everything kind of flowing still as it is, but still in accordance with the NDIS.
So what'll be in simple round terms, what would go into the claim file is 3 hours for each of the 3 participants times $18 an hour roughly. To get the claim. Okay. All right.
So we approached it the first time was the other way, and then when we rethought it, this is just so simple. Right now, currently, the NDIS is working the ratio out for us. Now they're not, so now we
that's right.
take an extra step.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I can see what you're saying. I just hope that we don't get hit with any surprises in the portal, because when you raise a service booking, then I'm just trying to think through what you'd be entering in the service booking, because off the top of my head, when you select the support item number to create your service booking, like it gives you the price. I'm not sure that you can override that price. What you can do is just put in the hours, obviously. So when we put in the hours for that booking, it's kind of the hours we put in there are going to have to be, in a sense, doing the calculation the other way and working out the assumed group sizes that the service is going to be delivered in, and then come up with a notional hours amount. I don't know.
And this is what the NDIS haven't really, even after the year, they haven't really given anything. And again, like VisiCase will definitely, if we get any information about service bookings, but you're right, you do create the service booking with the line item. Now that line item, if it's standard weekdays at 55.47 or 58.47, and your service booking is going to be a lot more than what you actually, you wouldn't even have, but you wouldn't even allow you to create that service booking because I'm not exactly sure how the portal, the My Place or Proto will deal with it, but that's probably maybe mentioned in. I know that they have user groups. I'm not sure. We just go on the chat, and we also email the provider support.
Yeah.
Even though we're not providers, I kind of just wing it and say, well, we do the system for providers. We want to make sure that the system is in accordance to what is needed.
Expected. Yeah. All right. I mean, probably the others on this call feel the same, but certainly it's going to add a degree of complexity in the statement of service process. Like actually, before you're doing anything, building the statement of service at the quotes how much the supports are going to be for the next year.
Yeah.
It adds another dynamic to that process that.
Yes.
Or how simple it's going to be, but that's for another discussion. So.
Yeah. And again, you know, with the information that the NDIS has given, it's still been a bit, you know, blasé. Sorry. So sorry. Perks of working from home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so coming back to this, maybe probably on an ongoing conversation with the NDIS on how the service bookings are going to work. But yes, that's the logic, how we've taken it. We were approaching it at you know, all these different levels and different approaches, but this is the approach that made more sense to us. We would just work out the ratio hourly amount. Again, obviously nothing is a perfect world. You're never going to have this, you would hope, but you're never going to have the people who you think are going to come are actually going to attend. But in the training, it will also show you that if you have a short notice cancellation or if you have a cancellation, it will still appear at that approval stage. Obviously, with cancellations with time, VisiCase will say, well, this is a zero charge, but it will keep the hourly rate that was planned, because there was feedback as well saying that's providers, even though someone cancels and goes on a holiday, doesn't mean if you have the capacity, but doesn't mean that you charge the attending participants more. And because we were getting two different bits of feedback on, no, we would actually charge them more, but oh no, we want to keep it the same. What VisiCase has done is allowed you to keep what was planned, but then override that information if necessary. And that's what we mean by in accordance to the NDIS. So what's the next part here? So again, this is more of a what we discussed in the beginning of the meeting. So what we've just gone through is a really, really brief outline of the preview or what's coming. Training will give so much more in-depth information. And again, you know, after this session, there might be more. I will share this PowerPoint as well, but there might be some more questions that come out of it, but we'll get to them, and hopefully this rollout will be enough for everyone. So just talking about UAT, this is going to be released on demand, a little bit different to what we've had in the past. It can be from the Friday the 4th. It can be ready for testing on the Monday the 7th. So the work will get done over that weekend, and then whoever chooses to have the UAT from the 7th, at this time, the earliest is you'll have it is probably the next working day is the Monday the 7th. If clients, if you all feel that, oh, actually, no, we have a few more things to do in UAT, we're not ready to, you know, update or do anything, you just have to let us know when you want the UAT to be done, to have a look around, see if you can do a little bit of training with your teams just to kind of test it out, see what it really looks like. Again, after that training, there'll be more information. And yeah, so just let us know at the end of the session, send even to the registering email, just advise us when you would want the UAT. and then we will book it in for you and communicate with that. There will be the training sessions. Everyone and all are welcome. So again, this is where you might have your small team coming in, or you might have even 100 users coming. You know, just let us know who is coming and we will organise that training session. And those dates will be released very soon. We just had to confirm with our trainers. Then, in a perfect world, I would be saying my advice would be the 21st of June would be probably the first day after all the testing and all the training and things like that, that it can come into your production. Again, it is on demand, so you can let us know. And it has to be after the UAT has been approved. So we don't want to be bringing anyone's versions in if it hasn't been approved. The production date, I say the 21st because, again, I'm not going to make a call for everyone, but that gives you about 8 days, working days, to copy and pre-fill any existing groups that are coming up in July. So it will give you that ability to do that transition. Now, if you say, no, we still need more time with UAT, we actually want to do it on the 24th of June, you just have to book it in with us and we will update the production to the date that you require. So do we have any questions in regards to the rollout dates?
So is the training sessions, you're going to have fixed dates at which there might be multiple companies, vendors attend, or multiple customers attending, or are you providing sessions just for one customer at a time, sort of?
No, it would be like last, I think version 5, we had basically like a presentation, and we had multiple users coming into it, so clients coming into it. So it just is because we as VisiCase still have our internal training to do, and then also then it goes out to the client. So something similar like this,
right,
on the sense of a presentation.
Yeah. Okay. And one question actually more related to the previous slide was, does the statement, so not actually this particular screen, does the statement and or say the activity report show the size of the group that they're in? So, you know, the example I had before was, you know, all right, it's been charged 3 hours times $18. Is there somewhere that says this was in a group of 3, or in terms of how it appears on the statement or on a report or anything like that?
I can come back to that. I think the main development here was just to actually get it in the system, but that definitely should be, I believe it would just bring the like what the planned participants were divided by versus what the approved. You know how we have the all activity report that shows like planned, delivered and approved. I would just say that it would be basically shown there, but I would have to double check. We didn't really touch too much on the reporting. I think we just focused on the actual development, the functionality of the system, because
that's fine. Yeah.
But definitely I think it needs to be shown. So if someone did come and say, why did you charge me this, you don't have to do the calculation and say, okay, there's the hourly rate, where's the service value, where's the service line, what did I divide it by, what did the system divide it by? But yeah, definitely can go back to the BA and developer for this one and see how it would be shown.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's all. Thank you.
No worries. Oh, where did I go? Why does it keep doing that? Weird. So yeah, so the training sessions, just recapping as well, it will be everyone can be invited to them, obviously. possibly not support workers that don't have anything to do with the desktop, but there will be some training around the mobile version as well, which you can then either share the recording. I believe that they're recorded as well. Actually, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they are recorded, and then they can be shared to your teams as well.
Yes, we do record the training sessions as well.
Mhm.
And then we'll share the link. Sometime it happens the video is too long, so maybe we'll post it on YouTube as well, and then we'll share the link there as well.
Yeah.
Can I just ask one question on the mobile interface? Is there look and feel changes over there as well?
Ooh, good question. I actually haven't even looked at that. Action, do you know?
I think it's probably going to be the old one.
Yeah.
Because just the desktop view, we have the changes. Yeah, but I'll still confirm with this one because I haven't looked at 376 yet as well. Because this session was just an overview and heads up, and we are most welcome your opinions on this one. So yeah, in the training session,
so we'll definitely we'll follow up on that one.
Okay, thanks.
No worries. I don't, if we're not aware of it, I don't think so. But again, like I said, we also still, there is only this part that I was heavily part of with the group's development, but there are also other parts of the release notes that we still needed a little bit of training in, which we'll have our internal training. So, but we'll still let you know if there's any modifications to the mobile version. And yes, I think, yep. Now we're in the questions and feedback. So we have allocated about 2 hours for this session. It just depends on how many questions and feedback that we have at this stage. Anything that you want to kind of talk about that's relevant to the group sharing, the capital center cost, the new look. But if everyone is, we asked some questions throughout it. If you have any questions that come out after the session, please feel free to just send them through to us. We really, truly appreciate any feedback and questions, because then this kind of shows that we will be hoping to do these types of preview sessions for these bigger developments. Reason why it looks, I hope it looks quite straightforward and simple now, because it's completed. But yeah, it's been about a 5-month project for VisiCase to be able to do this. So yeah, any feedback is greatly appreciated.
I was going to ask a question about the new look on the welcome page.
Yep.
Is the functionality the same as it is in the current version, so that you can search for every single client from that screen, not just by location? Yeah.
Yes. So no functionality of that page will be affected. It's just a bit of a cosmetic new feel, new colors.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Will the version 6 user manual be available on UAT when you've put it in, or are you sending out separate notes just on the group action functionality and all that? Or
yeah, so I think the manuals are still being updated, obviously, with the new look and everything like that, but they will be working on definitely getting the new group manuals done, so when it does come into UAT, it will be there to refer to if you did want to kind of have a look around before the training sessions. And then in time, I think each manual will have that update of that new look, screenshots and things like that, but that will come after. But the main priority is getting the group manual in, and I think a few more little things that have changed in the release notes, maybe like new fields and new reports that will be updated before the new look gets updated.
all right, thanks.
No worries. Any other questions?
I've just got a very quick question.
Mhm.
In regards to the data cubes we are picking up on a nightly basis via AWS, and I'm sure I will get in contact with Jakub here praised from Poland, one of your DBAs.
Mhm.
I'm 100% expecting there would be some changes in terms of, because you're adding some more fields or renaming some fields or the data syntax of those fields that we are picking up. Obviously, there will be some change. So we would like to be, I would really love to receive some sort of information beforehand, so we can reconfigure our data endpoints from our end, so we can pick up those feeds without a problem, because we have in production we have quite a lot of dashboards happening via our data hub. So we would love to receive those notifications prior hand.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll keep a note on this and I'll check with Jakub and I'll let him know. So
Yep.
he'll get in touch with you, Anurag, and maybe you and him will
Yep.
can discuss together.
Yep.
And us too, please.
Thank you.
Yes, sure.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm. I took the PowerPoint on so I can see who was talking, because I couldn't see anyone. But yes, we'll definitely pass that message on, just to have a heads up before those changes happen. Any other questions or feedback to this session? No? Okay. Well, we have finished early, which is a first for me. And yeah, both Akshat and I would like to just say thank you very much for attending this first of hopefully future preview sessions. And I do hope that it has been helpful and have not caused too much, I don't know, not so much panic, but just trying to ease into these changes. And yeah, any feedback is greatly appreciated. And yeah, that's about it from us.
Yep. Just one thing here to add on. So whoever is happy to update the UAT on Friday, just send me an email or send an email to the support@visicase.com and we'll arrange an update and I'll send you the confirmation email as well. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have a lovely afternoon. And yeah, just don't be shy to reach out if there's anything that comes to your mind after.
Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
Jim. Thanks.
You.
Thank you, guys.
See ya. Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Akshat.
Bye.
Thank you.